Alright guys, back with another video here. I wanted to talk about why people continue to go on. And what I mean by that is, even with all the crap, even with all the BS that goes on in the world, the evil, the problems, everything, or people who are living poorly, people who have a terrible life, I believe more people suffer in this world than not. I mean, everyone suffers in some way or another. At some point in their life, they will suffer, no matter what. There's no escaping that. But a large amount of people, a large population of people, suffer on a daily basis. And from going all the places that I've been to and the current place that I live, I've seen a lot of suffering. Now, they still seem to have the lust for life. Maybe they're just not admitting it. Some people don't want to admit. Some people don't want to look weak, right? That's just human nature sometimes. But what inherent in us forces us to keep going through this, in this shitty ass life, in this I like life. I like to do things. I like to have fun. I like those things. But it's becoming evident in this world that more and more things are becoming tougher. More and more things are becoming restricted. Everything is becoming restricted. It's like, I feel like the walls are closing in. And why I mention that is a lot of people don't realize it, and they just keep going on and on with their life. No one, bats an eyelash. Nobody does anything. There's small groups of people who are complaining about the tyranny that's going on in the world. But for the most part, especially where I live in South America, I've seen people in really terrible situations, and they still try to smile and fake it. And I don't know if that's a coping mechanism or if that's some sort of, I have no idea, man. What could that be? Me, I'm okay off. I don't complain about that. I'm not rich, but I'm also, I'm not poor, and I'm not on the street. And I couldn't imagine how that could be. But even for me, this world is so very difficult. It's a very difficult one to maneuver. Everything is just so screwed up. Obviously, there's a large proportion of people who can't take life and they end it. They off themselves. Now, I don't condone or recommend that at all. I think it's easy. It's the cheap way out, the easy way out. I think as hard as life is, we can't just do that. That's, I understand why people do it. I totally understand why people do it. Me personally, I couldn't do it. I'm too much of a chicken shit. I mean, I want to see what happens, later in this life. I don't know. Maybe I'm morbidly curious about where my life's gonna go, where the world's gonna go. I have no idea. I already know it's going down the tubes. It's going to shit. People are worse and worse, meaner and meaner. But back to the whole mechanism as to why people go on. I think, first of all, people are scared of the unknown, so they're scared of what happens after death, what happens after this world. I'm sure that's a big factor as to why a lot of people continue going on in life, no matter how bad things get. Another is, there's just some maybe biological mechanism built in us, which kind of and I don't mean the fear, I mean, I guess it's kind of fear, but people just can't go through with it. It's just something so detrimental, and obviously something not easy to do. A lot of people have done it. Some people have failed, and suffer the consequences. Like, my biggest fear is if I was to do something like that and I survived, and the consequences of surviving, that would be terrible. That would be worse, because I'm fully able-bodied and I can do, whatever I need to do. I have nobody depending on me, and vice versa. So for that, that's too high of a risk. Yeah, can't even imagine how that would be. That would make life way worse, way worse, 100% worse. So that's got to be, for me, that's not even part of the equation. But I think there's a certain mechanism biologically attached to us that may be inherent, that doesn't allow people to off themselves as easy. But I do believe everyone has a breaking point. Every human being, maybe some are easier and some are, takes a long time to break that. But I believe that everyone has a breaking point. When you're constantly bombarding them with stress, when everything's so tough, when there's misery and, not eating healthily as well, it can be very taxing on you mentally. So that might push people over the edge, where it deactivates that mechanism, deactivates that fear of death, where it's no longer relevant. They would rather the pain be gone than continue on in life. So the other thing I wanted to talk about in this video is the coping mechanisms. Now, we all go through difficulties. We all have our troubles in life. We all don't want to work this stupid ass 9 to 5, working for the man. Some people working 5, 6, some people work every day. I don't want to think about that. People working 7 days a week. Jesus, no life, Anyway, I digress. So coping mechanisms. Coping mechanisms are things that help you get through life, kind of numbing the pain. Basically, things that make you able to deal with the shit going on. I'll give you some examples of coping mechanisms that people use. Alcohol, perfect example. Alcohol. I used to be a drinker, not anymore. If you drink, I'm not judging anybody. I don't care. You can drink. I used to a lot, and actually, I did it for the numbing of the pain. It wasn't for activities. It wasn't for feeling good. Maybe when I was younger it was about feeling good, but when I was going through some sad times in my early 30s, I really went hard on the alcohol. I can admit that. It didn't get to the point where I was missing my work days. Not that anybody would give a shit about that. It's just a work. But I didn't miss work. I didn't screw up any of my obligations, things like that. I wasn't an angry drunk. I wasn't violent or nothing like that. But it was used as an escape, and I just wanted to forget about certain things. But it's really, really temporary. It doesn't fix the issue. In fact, it compounds it. Especially when you have a hangover or something like that, you really feel like shit. Even double time, triple time. So it's really not worth it. So I quit that, about a year or so. Now, other coping mechanisms could be drugs. A lot of people, look at how many people do drugs these days. It's, obviously it's an addiction. People get addicted, but there's got to be some reason why they started to do them in the first place. They wanted an escape. I've never done drugs. The most I've ever done is, marijuana. But that's it. None of the hard stuff, never. And so people will use that as an escape, and then they get stuck into an even worse hell. They tried to escape something that was bothering them in their life, ruining their life, and then now they're even worse off than they were before. So drugs are not the answer at all. Alcohol is not the answer, in my opinion. No drugs are the answer to escape a tormenting, terrible life. That's just what I think. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys will agree with that. Other coping mechanisms could be lighter things, like playing video games, just going into another world or something. I don't know. Just I used to play video games years ago, maybe over 10 years ago, and it was a good way to sort of forget about stupid, shitty things that were happening around the world. Sorry about the people talking over here. So that's a way to sort of, hide yourself, get out of the real world a little bit. And especially with the quality of the video games these days, it helps a lot. Some people do music. They'll have music, put headphones, and they just constantly, zone out and do that. It helps some people, I guess. Other coping mechanisms, people eat, eat junk food, eat bad food for you. It's, sugary foods, anything like that, any junk food whatsoever. And a lot of people get health problems because of that. So they go into another, they think that they're escaping their shitty reality, but they end up making things worse for themselves. It makes no sense to me. I get it. It's a like I said, coping mechanisms. It makes your dopamine go up. So when your dopamine goes up, you feel good temporarily, okay? And it's not a natural feeling of feeling good, okay? You can't, temporary dopamine is really not, it's not the answer as well. You have to have the natural stuff, Dopamine is okay, but it's got to be from things like exercise or breathing exercises, things like that. That'll really make a difference, because I do the breathing exercises, so that helps me with my anxiety. I have really bad anxiety. I used to have panic attacks, maybe 3-4 years ago. Got that under control by changing my diet, by taking supplements like vitamins and things like that. Obviously, cutting down drinking, breathing exercises, meditation. I did that for a while. I kind of started falling asleep doing that, but I like meditation. If you're not sleepy, you can really do it. You have to concentrate. It's all a frame of mind. So there's ways that you can combat extreme anxiety and panic attacks. Panic attacks are, man, some of the worst things that you could go through. Wow. So, I totally went through a lot of shit too. We continually go through shit. I have to deal with idiots. I have to deal with, whenever I resolve one problem, it seems like another one just pops up. And then someone told me once, it's like, well, that's life. No, I won't accept that shit. I can't. I need to I want to be away from all this bullshit, People annoy me. A lot of people annoy me. I like people on an individual basis, but in groups, they end up turning into assholes. Look at any organized group that caused issues, wars and things like that in the world. Whenever people get together, not always, of course, there's exceptions to the rule, but generally when people get together, they end up thinking stupid, bad shit, and they want to do bad things. So collectively, I don't like humans, but on an individual, I have people that I know personally that I like as a person. Whether they're a different person going into a group, that whole follow the leader and do what they do. I can't stand that stuff. People need to have more individualism. It's okay we have to work together, but not in political crap and, fighting all the time. It's just nonsense. So I'm not going to do a super long video. I just needed to talk about why people go on. I think another reason also I didn't mention why people may go on, as in going on with life, is they want to see maybe it's going to improve. Maybe they have hope. Maybe they have hope that better days are coming. Hope is always the last thing to die, as they say. Now, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's why people go on. It's also fear of the unknown, what happens when we die. It's going through with the actual act if people, think about doing that. And I don't condone that. I think it's no. None of that stuff. No offing yourself. No. But it's got to be that. Maybe they think better days are coming. Maybe they don't want to leave a family member behind. Maybe they don't want to upset somebody. Because I remember one example, Anthony Bourdain. You guys may have heard of him, with the famous chef from New York City. And he, I think it was like 5 years ago or something, maybe more than that, he had, you know, mental health issues and ended up, you know, doing it. So that's leaving his daughter to be sad and grieving. So it must have been something that really perturbed him, that forced him to end the suffering and pain. Like I said, I'll never understand. I don't think as far as I know, I don't have any mental illness in that regard. But it's just like, it's so sad that people have to suffer, because all there is in this world, all there is in this life is suffering. You know, I don't see a world where we're never going to have suffering. It seems that humans are hell-bent on causing all kinds of problems, not resolving shit, greedy, money, wanting egos. A lot of people have egos. It's just, yeah, I could do another video on why humans are that way, but it's my God. So I don't know, that could be one of the reason why people continue to go on. They don't want to leave family members behind and sad and suffering. I can't think of a few other ones, but if you guys know any reasons why you think humans keep going on amidst being in the shitty, you know, with dark clouds over their head and constantly having to deal with problems, especially people who don't have any money. Like, I'm not saying that they shouldn't go on. I'm not saying that they shouldn't fight through it, but I'm just always curious how people are able to get through the tough issues, especially when they're in a situation worse than a lot of people would ever imagine, especially in the West. You know, we have it pretty good in countries like Canada, US, even though it's all slave. You know, everyone's a slave to their job, and you're basically exchanging your time for paper, which we put a value that has really no value if you think about it. And it continually devalues fakely. You know, we keep inventing the devaluation of currency. It's just a nonsensical, make-believe, stupid shit. Anyways, on a positive note, I will say that I do enjoy a lot of things in life. I know I follow a lot of YouTubers on here who are really sick of life and, you know, are just tired. I'm tired too. I really am. I'm tired of the nonsense, and I'm tired of all the control mechanisms. I'm tired of all the walls seeming to be closing in on us, where we're losing more and more freedoms. That's what I'm tired of. Death is just, I think, merely an evolution of humanity. We probably go somewhere else. I believe we go somewhere else. I'm not saying it's heaven. I don't know. But I think, and the energy that's within us possibly goes somewhere else. Maybe it's reincarnation, maybe not, I don't know. But I believe there's something. I don't know what it is. My primitive brain can't comprehend that. Probably none of us can. None of us will know. There's no proof. But I really do enjoy doing the things I do. You know, I like to travel. I like being around cool people. And I like eating some foods. I mean, it gets tiresome sometimes, the routine, but I just want to say to the other YouTubers who are sick of having to work and sick of those things, I feel you, you know, I know, but we have to try to make the best of the situation, you know. I mean, do what you love to do. This goes for everybody. Do what you love to do. Don't be stuck in the rat race. Try to get out of it. I know it's not that easy, I know. But I'm trying my hardest to get the hell out of it. I'm still sort of stuck in it and whatnot, but I don't work that's a whole other issue, but I totally get it. But we're together. We're in this together, guys. You're not alone. No one's alone. There's people who think like me, people who think, there's a lot of people who are awake to the nonsense, you know. We know what's going on. So thank you for watching to the end of the video, if you did. I can't believe I did an almost 20-minute video. Probably sounds like rambling, but I felt it was important to get a few words out about this topic. And yeah, until the next video, guys, leave a comment below, hit the like if you liked it. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike. It's cool with me. See you guys in the next video. Peace out. Bye.